So it looks like the Jonathan Majors situation just got worse for him. I'm sure by now this week you heard the whole Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama story that Jonathan Majors wanted his then girlfriend to act like them. But now, what came out today, Jonathan Majors' text message seemed to incriminate him in giving his then girlfriend a head injury. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So we've been covering this Jonathan Majors stories ever since it broke and he was arrested for allegedly attacking his then girlfriend. Since then, we've covered the different stories that have come out this, especially from his team. And we said to you, Jonathan, you might want to get a new attorney and new damage control specialist because they're not helping your situation. The text messages that he released, his team released at the time after the incident where he felt it proved his innocence, only made people go, this is not helping you. And then these other stories of where Jonathan Majors came in and helped these students and he stopped them from fighting. And then the whole Megan Good relationship. And I've told you in covering this story, and partially why I never cover their relationship is because I don't believe it. I feel like this is damage control. I feel like this is a gig for Megan Good. So I know some of you are actually worried for Megan Good's safety, but I'm not worried for her safety because I don't believe this is a real relationship. I believe she is just a figure, specifically a black woman. I feel like they are using a black woman to help his image, to rally the support of other black women for Jonathan Majors. Well, now, after this week, as you know, they're literally in the middle of the trial right now. After this week, I don't know if this is looking good for Jonathan Majors. But we will go through the system and allow the system to do what it's supposed to do. But the first story, before we get into the shocking news that came out today, Jonathan Majors reportedly, according to BET.com, wanted his ex-girlfriend to act like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama. She's a white woman, a white English woman. Just want to point that out for those that might have been like, what's wrong with that? Those are some upstanding black women. I know, they are. So BET.com writes this. They said the allegations against Marvel star Jonathan Majors is mounting. They said in the ongoing misdemeanor assault case that commenced on Monday, December 4th, the actor's ex-girlfriend and alleged victim, Grace Jabari, asserted that the 34-year-old insisted that she behaved more like former First Lady Michelle Obama or civil rights icon Coretta Scott King. During opening statements, Majors attorney Priya Chaudhry, who also represented Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star inmate Jen Shah, claimed that Jabari was only accusing her client of domestic violence because he ended their 2-year relationship while also citing racism as the reason for his March arrest. Meanwhile, Assistant District Attorney Michael Perez accused the Creed 3 star of showing a, quote, cruel and manipulative pattern of psychological abuse. So according to ABC News, the jury heard a recording Jabari made with her iPhone of the actor shouting at her, demanding that she behave like Coretta Scott King or Michelle Obama. He said this, "I'm a great man. A great man. I do great things for my culture and for the world. The woman that supports me needs to be a great woman," Majors was heard saying. "2 nights ago, you did not do that, which took away from the plan." Jabari told the jury she understood that meant he had to come first. So just a reminder for those that have been under a rock and you haven't seen any of our coverage in regards to this story, Majors is accused of assaulting his former partner in the back seat of a taxi following a dinner in Brooklyn on the evening of March 25th as the pair were headed to Majors' apartment in the Chelsea neighborhood. The actor has maintained his innocence and has pleaded not guilty to misdemeanor assault and harassment charges. If convicted, he faces up to a year in jail. When we initially reported on this, we told you that Majors at the time was dropped by his management company and publicity company, which is a major deal. And a lot of people said that's a signal that this isn't looking good for Jonathan Majors. Well, if you thought that part of the story was interesting, this next one is going to blow your mind. So, according to some text messages, it seems as if Jonathan Majors may have incriminated himself in regards to physically attacking or causing a head injury to Grace Jabari. So People magazine writes this: in text messages between Jonathan Majors and his accuser, Grace Jabari, the Marvel actor appears to admit to physical violence against his now ex 6 months before Majors was arrested in March and charged with assault in a separate DV case. In the text, he says, "I fear you have no perspective on what could happen if you go to the hospital," in his text to Jabari on September of 2022. "They will ask you questions, and I don't think you actually protect us. It could lead to an investigation even if you do lie and they suspect something else." In the text message, Majors also stated that it's just fake, but based on the messages put into evidence, it was not clear what he was calling fake, and no context was provided in court. In the text messages displayed to the jury and read in the record by Jabari on her fourth and final day on the stand on Friday, Jabari appears to assure Majors that she would not blame him for allegedly causing an injury to her head. If you recall, when we first reported on this story, even after the incident that happened in the car, in the taxi cab, those text messages that Grace was sending to Jonathan Majors, we didn't have any responses from him in those text messages. It was, again, it seemed as if it was coming from someone that was already in a cycle of abuse. And this is why a lot of people, especially people that are experts in abuse, were like, this doesn't help Jonathan Majors. She sounds like an abused person in a cycle of abuse. So they continue. They said, Jabari cried as she read aloud the message in court: "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head." Then, unable to continue through her tears, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Galloway took over, reading, "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you?" The text messages, which were previously mentioned by prosecutors in a 115-page pretrial filing back in October, are considered Malino evidence, which the New York State Unified Court System defines as conduct that is inextricably interwoven with the charged acts, and which may provide necessary background information or explanation to the charged acts. So in the filing, prosecutors mentioned medical records from London related to an incident that occurred in September of 2022. That earlier incident of alleged abuse had previously been ruled inadmissible, but in a series of cross-examination questions, which presiding judge Michael Gaffey had said lacked specificity, the defense opened the door to prosecutors being able to share with the jury text messages regarding the prior incident, the judge told lawyers Friday morning. So on a cross-examination earlier this week, Priya Chaudhry, one of Majors' defense attorneys, had drilled Jabari about why the morning after the alleged March 2023 incident, the woman had told emergency personnel that she did not remember how she had become injured. Gaffey said Friday morning that Chaudhry had asked questions in an effort to impugn Jabari's credibility, even though they knew there might be another reason she was not forthcoming. So in those September of 2022 text messages, Majors had responded to Jabari threatening taking his life if his then girlfriend went to the hospital for her injured head. So last night I considered, I'm going to change the wording of this just because of YouTube. So last night I considered versus coming home. Majors wrote to Jabari adding, "I need love too, or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man I don't deserve it, and I should. In this way, my existence is miserable. I want," says. Jabari, who in court was turned in the direction of the projected text messages, had responded, "I will not go to the doctor if you don't feel safe with me doing so, or don't trust me to. I promise you I would never mention you, but understand your fear." telling her that she could not reject his love and admonishing her for not hugging him after the alleged fight. Majors noted by text, "I will probably kill myself if it's not really contemplating anymore." He added, "I'm a monster, a horrible man, not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon." So as the text messages were read aloud to the jury, Majors, seated at the defense table in a black suit and white collared shirt, kept his head down, hands in his lap, his binder of notes shut. When the prosecutors finished reading the messages, the actor looked briefly at the jury. The details of that September 2022 incident were not further detailed for the jury, as that earlier incident is still otherwise preluded from coming into trial. So according to People magazine, they said, however, in the 115-page filing reviewed by People, prosecutors listed a series of text messages by Jabari in September of 2022, only some of which were shared with the jury Friday, and which included, per prosecutors, photographs of a hand, shoulder, and buttocks, along with text about punching, discussing pain, and as shared with the jury Friday on September 2022, a text with JM using Major's initials regarding medical treatment. So they continue, they said, in court Friday, Galloway then moved on in her redirecting questioning of Jabari to the March 2023 incident, asking Jabari why she had initially told emergency personnel that she did not know how she had become injured. Jabari answered by saying, "I was just scared of the consequences of it. I still wanted to protect him." And if you've seen the recent video clip of Keke Palmer talking about how abused women try to protect abusers, and I know some of you that are very familiar with that cycle of abuse, and it's not uncommon where the abuse feels sort of trauma bonded to or connected or have a need to protect their abuser. I know it doesn't make sense, but it is something that's been studied. Galloway asked her, "Miss Jabari, do you know who caused your injuries on March 25th of 2023? She says, "I do," adding the defendant, Jonathan Majors. Majors, as you know, is facing charges of assault in the third degree with the intent to cause physical injury, assault in the third degree recklessly causing physical injury, aggravated harassment in the second degree, and harassment in the second degree in connection with an alleged fight between him and Jabari that spilled onto the streets of Chinatown in March. Guys, as always, if you are experiencing any level of domestic violence, we will be posting that information in the description of this video. But as I said to you before, I'm going to continue to follow this. We're not giving you day-to-day updates on this trial, but as major developments come out, we will give you an update on this. But I will point this out in all fairness to Jonathan Majors and what his team is putting out there. They're saying that her particular injuries, they have posted video footage where it seems as if she's okay, everything's fine. She even goes out on the same night. So this is what Jonathan Majors' legal team is saying. They do not believe her story. Here's the thing, though. Although her injuries may have not impacted her not to go out, it did not impact her to stop from going out or being able to use her arm, does that take away from Jonathan Majors actually causing harm to her? Just because you get hit and it didn't necessarily stop you from using your arm or stop you from going out that night doesn't mean that the incident didn't happen. But we're going to wait to see how all this plays out and what the jury decides in regards to this Jonathan Majors situation. Not only are we watching this, I'm pretty sure the folks behind Disney and Marvel are watching this as well. Guys, as always, I want to know your thoughts on these latest developments that we're getting from the Jonathan Majors case. Let's continue this conversation in the comments section. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll ask you, follow my lead.